Hey guys, Turtles on here, and welcome back to more of my special franchise review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise. Today we're going to be looking at the successor to the first one, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles II, Secret of the Ooze. Now if I'm going to be mentioning this in every episode. The reason I'm doing it special because I'm doing it to honor one of the people who actually inspired me to do my channel, that being the Game 2K2, or aka Gentino Brown. And I'm not going to go into too much more detail. If you want just to see all the detail, watch the first one. Last video or whatever, when I did this. So Secret of the Ooze. Now, pretty much where picks off where the first one left off. The Turtles are staying at April's new apartment until they find a new place to live. And there are a lot of differences from the first one to this one. Not the whole lot per se, but it's just the whole tone and atmosphere. The first one was dark and gritty, and it actually blended the campy and humorous elements from the cartoon, and dark and gritty elements from the comics, and blended it perfectly together. This time, they kind of went for a more kid-friendly tone, which does go back and forth as far as opinions go. So there are some decent things to the story. The fact that the humor is pretty good, and stuff like that. But so anyway, the Shredder turns out to be alive and wants revenge. He kidnaps this scientist who had something to do with the ooze that turned the turtles into what they are, and he uses it to create two mutant whatever one. And Allison sends them to attack the turtles. As Gentino Brown put it, they're basically like Bebop and Rocksteady, but most of us can have our second thoughts though, because they're not really even the same animals that Bebop and Rocksteady were. But these are good characters nonetheless, but do they end up sort of like not being as good as you thought they would be? Yeah, they really do. But it still goes great. So, and now something is worth mentioning about the action. The action, I don't think I've even seen. The more disappointing part is they don't really use their weapons. They more fist fight and use stuff around them, which makes it more comedic. But to me, it just is like, if they're not using their weapons, why did they put them in the movie in the first place? Anyway, enough of that. It's cheesy, more cheesy beyond belief, as far as everything goes. Now the acting will be worth mentioning. The suit work. Now, if for those of you who didn't watch my last one, this is how the suits work. Or there's a person inside of it. They have animatronic work for the mouth, and it's voiced over. But then again, it's done so well that you feel like it's really coming out of the costume. And they have someone else playing April O'Neil, but she does an okay job. It's not the best by any means. Alright, so then adding to the cheesiness factor, during the last fight between those two creatures and the bunch of the Foot Clan, is in a club loaded with people, which actually kind of like defeats the whole purpose of, like being stealthy, because Splinter said you must stay in the shadows. But anyway, And then there's Vanilla Ice, which I have to admit the song he sings, Ninja Rap, is actually rather catchy in a way. And the moment is, well, while out of place, the thing is I couldn't stop singing that song for a few days, but it was not bad by any means. But the problem with the final fight between him and the Shredder is that he has lots of mutations, mutates himself, but he ends up smashing things like the Hulk under a bridge, and it just collapses on him. The Turtles don't even throw a single punch, which is kind of a letdown when you think about it. But I did mention in my underrated list when I was talking about the new one, I could sit through this after a couple of beers. I was only joking, but watching it again, it's not as dumb as I remember it, but otherwise, this can be enjoyable if you use your kid's side when watching this. But then other than that it can be a disappointment to the older audience. Okay, so in the next one we'll be talking about the third one. And then how does that one improve? We'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. And cowabunga.